Hi guys, and welcome to my first What I Eat in a Day. So I'm just going to be taking you through what I eat in a day with lots of recipes mixed throughout. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get right into the video. Alright, so starting off with breakfast, this was super easy. I just chopped up some fresh strawberries along with about half of a ripe banana. And then I'm weird and I like to measure my granola. So I measured up my granola and then I added my fruit on top of that. And then I grabbed my raw almond butter and just drizzled, I don't know, maybe like a teaspoon on top of that. And then I poured some almond milk, and yeah, this is what I had for breakfast. I'm like obsessed with granola and cereal in the morning, so I usually have something like this. Okay, now moving on to lunch. This is probably my favorite thing to eat in the world because it's just like eating french fries for a meal. So I started by cutting up some gold potatoes. You can also use red. I just think russet are kind of plain when you're really just eating the plain potatoes with seasoning and not adding oil and stuff. But yeah, so I'm just chopping these up into kind of fry shapes, and then I'm chucking those into a bowl where we're going to toss in our seasonings. And this is kind of the shape that they look like. So I'm going to then add some garlic powder, some turmeric, some cumin, and then some paprika, and then lastly a big pinch of salt, and then also some freshly ground pepper. And then I'm just tossing these up, and I don't add any oil. If your oven temperature is hot enough, these get really, really crispy and awesome. So I just prefer not to add any oil, but you can if you'd like. And then I just went ahead and spread these out on a lined baking tray. And you want to make sure it's lined, it's just going to make your life a lot easier. And then you also want to make sure that the fries, as best you can, don't really touch each other, or at least in a flat layer. And then while those are in the oven, I just cut open an avocado, and I used half of an avocado and cut it up and then mashed it on my plate. So basically whenever I have fries for like lunch or for dinner, I'll make a bunch of them and then I'll add a bunch of toppings. So sometimes I'll use like a bean dip or some avocado or some ketchup or some other kinds of sauces. So then this is what it looks like when they come out of the oven. So they're super crispy, you can tell without any oil whatsoever. And then I'm just popping those on a plate next to my avocado. And then I'm also adding a squirt of ketchup here. But yeah, you can honestly eat these with any dippings that you like. You can also totally change up the spice blend to suit whatever you're feeling like or whatever you like best. But yeah, this is one of my favorites and is definitely a go-to lunch for me. All right, so moving on to dinner. This was a heavy prep dinner because I baked two things. So first off, we made a vegan cornbread. So I'm starting by greasing my pan. And then to a small bowl, I'm going to be adding 1 flax egg, and then 1.5 cups of almond milk, along with a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. And then we're going to give that a little mix and then add in our half cup of sugar. The cornbread wasn't super sweet, so if you want it to be more sweet, you can add a little bit more than this. And then give that a little mix, and then we're going to add our 1 cup of regular white flour along with 1 cup of corn flour. So this isn't cornmeal, it's corn flour. It's just like more finely ground, I guess, and it looks like this. But we're also going to add some plain cornmeal too. And we're going to add about a cup of that. Along with some baking powder and then a pinch of salt. And then we're going to mix that all up together. And then we're going to pour that into our greased baking tin, and then I like to give it like a little jiggle so it I don't know, flattens out a little bit. And then I'm going to pop that in the oven at 350 degrees for about 35 minutes to like 38 minutes. Just keep an eye on it. So next we're going to be making dessert. So I made some strawberry shortcake this day. So I started by adding some almond milk, some apple cider vinegar, and then giving this a little mix. This makes like a buttermilk mixture. So the vinegar kind of like, not in a gross way, curdles the milk. So then we're going to add our plain flour to a bowl. And then I'm adding in my sugar. And then a big pinch of salt, and then a tablespoon of baking powder, and then give this a little mix. And next we're going to add our cold butter. So we're adding 5 tablespoons of butter. And then I'm using a fork to mash this in and get a sandy texture. And this is how we're gonna get like our flaky, buttery biscuit dough. And then I realized my bowl was way too small, so I transferred it to a larger bowl and then added in that buttermilk mixture. And then mixed this together with my wooden spoon, and I actually added a little bit more flour because it was a little too wet, but all of the ingredients and measurements will be in the description box below. But this is about what it looks like when it's all come together. So then I take it over to my lined baking tray, and I'm just doing like drop shortcakes. So just taking big spoonfuls and then dropping it onto my baking sheet. Alright, so now we're going to make the glaze that goes on top. So first I'm going to add some vanilla, some maple syrup, some cinnamon, and then some almond milk, and you want to give that a whisk. And then you can use a brush if you have it, but I just had a spoon and spoon this all over the top. It makes this it makes it like almost caramelized and just like so good on top. And for some reason adding the vanilla into this makes it so much better. I couldn't tell you why. So then you're going to go ahead and bake those, and while those are baking, we are going to macerate our strawberries. So we are going to give those a chop. I just like to do slices. And then we're going to transfer those into a bowl, and into that bowl we're going to add some sugar along with some lime juice. You can also use lemon juice if you had it. I had lime, and it was actually so good with the strawberry flavor. And then you go ahead and put that in the fridge to chill while you prepare your vegan chili or whatever else you're making for dinner. So I first started by chopping up a yellow onion into, I don't know, just chop it. And then I went ahead and I put some olive oil in the bottom of a pot, and I added my onion into there. Next I added some garlic along with some salt, and then all of my spices, which again will be listed down below. And then I'm giving this a little stir, and then I'm adding in some tomato paste, about half of a can of like a regular small tomato paste can. And this gives the chili the nice like umami deep flavor. And then we're gonna add a can of chopped tomatoes along with 2 cans of water. So I just filled up the can of the tomatoes twice and added that in. And I also added some vegetable broth, and I just let that simmer for a while before adding in my beans, more vegetable broth, and then I covered this up. And the secret kind of to chili is letting it just cook for a long time. So I let that cook for about 20 minutes, and then I added in some chopped bell pepper, some chopped up parsley, and some frozen corn. So yeah, really you can customize this to add any flavors that you like, but the secret is add the base ingredients, add the stock ingredients, let them simmer for a long time, and then add your fillings. And then I also added some lime juice to finish it off. So at this point, all your kind of baked goods will be done. So I just grabbed my chili or my cornbread out of the oven for my chili, and this is what it looks like. And then I kind of set everything up to be eaten. So I served my chili with some avocado, some fresh parsley, and of course a big hunk of the cornbread. So yeah, I just had a bowl of this, again with a big slice of cornbread. And then for dessert, these are what the strawberry shortcakes will look like when they come out of the oven. And I just plated this up. I plated one up. I didn't end up eating all of it because it's kind of a lot. It was a pretty heavy bread day, I'll be honest. But I just added my strawberries to the side of that, and the strawberries are just like so good. And then I had some like vegan whipped cream in the fridge, so I just added that on top too. But you can see how the sugar really caramelizes on the bottom and just makes it like really crispy, but it's still like a soft like shortcake dough on the center. Yeah, this is just like so good, and it honestly is so easy to make. Highly recommend. But yeah, that is what I eat in a day. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.